Imagine yourself as John Sidibe, a 19-year-old black man living in South Africa in 1961. Life is defined by limitation, restricted movement, restricted opportunity, restricted dignity. You wake before sunrise each morning, not because you want to, but because the system demands it. Long walks, overcrowded buses, and endless queues shape your routine. Technology is scarce. There are no televisions in most homes, and news travels slowly, often by word of mouth. Yet what is abundant, impossible to ignore, is the simmering anger among your people toward the government in Pretoria, led by Hendrik Verwoerd and his National Party, which has ruled for over a decade. In the township where you live, dust rises with every passing footstep. Children play barefoot in the streets, their laughter occasionally interrupted by the stern voice of a policeman or the rumble of a government vehicle. Your parents speak in hushed tones at night, careful not to attract attention. Fear is as present as hunger, and both are constant companions. Not long ago, news spread through whispers and crackling radio reports of a brutal incident. Security police opened fire on unarmed protesters who had gathered to resist the pass laws, those humiliating documents that every black person is forced to carry. You remember the silence that followed the news, the way grown men stared at the ground, fists clenched. The memory of that bloodshed lingers heavily in your mind. Each day, your resentment deepens, sharpened by the daily indignities imposed on you simply because of your skin color, being stopped, questioned, searched, and reminded that in your own country, you are treated as less than human. Yet, even in this darkness, you find a flicker of hope. Twice a week, at exactly 6 p.m., families gather quietly around their radios. The room falls silent as a powerful voice comes through, clear, resolute, inspiring. It belongs to a charismatic leader who speaks boldly against the government, urging resistance until justice is achieved. His words are not just speeches, they are lifelines. They give language to your anger and shape to your dreams. You begin to imagine a different South Africa, one where you can walk freely, speak openly, live fully. Weeks pass, and you hesitate, weighing fear against conviction. You see what happens to those who speak too loudly, act too boldly. Then comes devastating news. The movement you admired has been banned, along with others. For a moment, disappointment grips you like a tightening fist, but you refuse to surrender to despair. Instead, whispers of resistance continue. You hear of secret gatherings held in defiance of the ban. Quietly, cautiously, you attend. These meetings are held at night, in back rooms and hidden yards. Candles flicker as people speak in low voices. You begin to play your part, mobilizing others, sharing information, encouraging courage. Every knock on the door sends a jolt of fear through your body. Every unfamiliar face could be an informant. Yet, despite the danger, the movement lives on, in secrecy, in whispers, in courage. Years pass. You are now 22. The world has changed, but not enough. One evening, the radio delivers another crushing blow. The leader who once inspired you has been arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment. The room falls silent again, but this time it is heavier, more final. Whatever hope remained begins to fade. Where you once believed in peaceful resistance, your thoughts now drift toward more militant action. Without hesitation, you make a life-altering decision. You leave South Africa under the cover of darkness, saying goodbye without ceremony, without certainty of return. You cross into a neighboring country where you join a guerrilla movement fighting against the regime. Exile becomes your new reality. The years stretch on. Life in the camps is harsh, training is relentless, resources are limited, and danger is constant. Yet, there is also camaraderie. Your comrades become your family. You share food, stories, and dreams. You learn discipline, resilience, and even a new language to communicate with fellow fighters from different regions. At night, you sometimes lie awake, staring at the stars, wondering if your family is looking at the same sky. Occasionally, you listen to radio broadcasts from leaders in exile who managed to escape your home country. Their voices carry across borders, bringing news of protests, crackdowns, and resistance. Each broadcast strengthens your resolve. You remind yourself why you left, why you endure. Then one evening, after many years, something shifts. A radio report announces that the government has begun negotiations with resistance groups, including yours. It is cautious, uncertain, but it is real. Among your comrades, excitement erupts, mixed with disbelief. Could this be the beginning of the end? Soon, your commanders instruct you to prepare to leave camp, quietly, just in case the government is not sincere. Tension fills the air. But within days, confirmation arrives. Exiled leaders have returned home and have been welcomed. The impossible is happening. Hope surges through you, stronger than ever before. You begin planning your journey back, a long journey of roughly 2,000 kilometers. On the day you depart, you stop at Mr. Kalosh's newspaper stall on a busy street in the capital city of your host country. The city is alive with movement, vendors shouting, cars honking, people rushing, but you feel detached, focused. You grab a paper, tuck it under your arm, and board a bus heading toward the border. Seated at last, your heart pounding, you open the newspaper. The headline stops you cold: the very leader whose imprisonment once drove you into exile has been released. At last, you shout, unable to contain your joy. Passengers turn, startled. Some smile, others nod in understanding. You explain, your voice filled with emotion. It is a story they know well. It has echoed across continents. Hours later, you approach the border. You disembark 5 kilometers away, choosing caution over convenience. You walk quietly, each step filled with anticipation. Days later, you cross into South Africa itself, then travel another 350 kilometers to your hometown. When you arrive, everything feels both familiar and foreign. Roads have changed, buildings have shifted, faces are older. Your old home is occupied by strangers. For a moment, you feel lost. But your relatives are still there. You are led to an elderly woman, frail, weathered by time. You introduce yourself as her long-lost son. At first, she struggles to recognize you. Her eyes search your face, tracing lines of memory. Then it happens, a flicker of recognition, followed by overwhelming emotion. She embraces you tightly, calling out to others. Joy fills the small house as family members gather, some meeting you for the first time. That night, surrounded by warmth and quiet conversation, you reflect on the 27 years you spent away. It is now 1992. You are 49 years old. Each day, you watch news reports, violence, negotiations, uncertainty, but also possibility. The country is changing before your eyes. Then comes a historic announcement. A date has been set for elections open to all races. On election day, you rise early and join a long line of people, young and old, men and women, all waiting patiently. Some have tears in their eyes. Others sing softly. When it is your turn, you step forward and cast your vote for the first time in your life. It is more than a vote, it is a declaration of existence. When your chosen candidate wins by a landslide, you feel a deep, quiet satisfaction. You think back on exile, hardship, sacrifice, and conclude, it was worth it. A new government is formed. The early years are filled with reconciliation and goodwill. People speak of unity, of healing, of building a nation together. A new constitution is adopted, promising that the past will never repeat itself. A commission is established to promote truth and reconciliation, allowing wounds to be acknowledged and, hopefully, healed. 5 years later, a younger leader takes office, bringing renewed hope. His energy is infectious, his promises bold. At first, minor scandals emerge, but you dismiss them as growing pains. Change, after all, is never perfect. But over time, the whispers grow louder. Corruption, mismanagement, broken promises. You remain hopeful, telling yourself that progress takes time. By your 60s, you have supported your political party for over 4 decades. It is part of your identity. Yet, leadership changes again, and the problems worsen. Reports of massive financial mismanagement shake your faith. You begin to question everything. You think of the clinic down the street, understaffed, understocked. You think of the shacks you pass on your way to buy bread, and the children who play with scraps from a rubbish dump. This is not the future you envisioned during those long nights in exile. Worse still, the tone of leadership changes, from humility to arrogance. The language of unity fades, replaced by entitlement. Crime rises. Unemployment spreads. Yet your party continues to win elections, though with declining support. You consider switching allegiance but decide to wait and see. Now in your late 70s, living on a government pension, you worry deeply about your 19-year-old nephew, Muzi. He reminds you of yourself, young, hopeful, uncertain. But his struggle is different. Not one of legal oppression, but of economic hardship. Then, for the first time since taking power, your party fails to secure a majority. It is a turning point. At 82, you sit quietly, reflecting on your life's journey, the sacrifices, the victories, the disappointments. And you ask yourself a painful question: was it really worth it? Your story mirrors that of many liberation movements across Africa and beyond. While the struggle against oppression was justified, necessary, even, the failure to develop strong systems of governance afterward has often led to disappointment. Liberation movements are, in many ways, easier to build than to sustain. They arise from a cause, clear, urgent, undeniable. Support follows naturally when people share a common hardship. Structures form quickly, messages spread easily, resistance takes shape. The enemy is visible, the mission is unified, but victory introduces complexity. The transition to governance is often rushed, 2 to 4 years at most. Leaders who once organized resistance must now manage economies, institutions, and public expectations, often without preparation. They face difficult choices: rely on experienced professionals from the old regime, risking internal division, or learn through trial and error. Many choose the latter. As pressure mounts, governments attempt to satisfy the masses through welfare programs or redistribution. While these efforts may be well-intentioned, they often mask deeper inefficiencies. Corruption begins quietly, hidden beneath the language of service. Opposition grows. Leadership becomes defensive, then hostile. The narrative shifts, from service to entitlement. Years pass. Cracks widen. Infrastructure decays. Economies falter. Public services weaken. Skilled professionals leave. Cities change. Hospitals decline. Informal settlements expand. Crime increases. In desperation, governments may adopt drastic policies, not for long-term stability, but short-term survival. The consequences ripple through society. Unemployment rises. Faith declines. Some leave. Others stay, hoping. A new generation, like Muzi, faces challenges shaped by the past, yet lived in the present. This is the enduring paradox of liberation. The struggle for freedom is clear, but the responsibility of sustaining it is far more complex. Whether future generations will learn from these patterns remains uncertain. But one truth remains: freedom, once achieved, must be carefully governed, or it risks losing its meaning. Only time will tell. So, what do you think? Is this an accurate reflection of the shortcomings of liberation movements? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe for more insightful videos.